If it's okay, I'll just combine the executive meeting minutes with the regular board meeting minutes, and we can do them all at once if that's okay with everybody. Has everybody had a chance to look over and review the minutes?
Yes.
Is there any discussion or corrections on these?
No. I make a motion to accept them.
Jamie made a motion to accept the minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Tony second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Next thing on the agenda is the presentation of bills, claims, and payroll. And if it's okay, I will go ahead and add the presentation of the financial report for August. And we can take care of all that at one time if there's no objections to that. Is there any questions on bills, claims, and payroll? Any discussion? Then I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Chris makes a motion to accept bills, claims, payroll, and the monthly financial report. Do I have a second?
Second.
RB seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Take your whole day to put this together.
So that's just when it's set up. And one of your fingers, not that. But this one is easy peasy. Thank you.
That's a bunch.
Okay, is there any visitor that would like to speak at this time? I think, Sean?
So those who don't know me, I'm Sean Garrett. I'm the fire chief here at Mono. We've had a fundraiser going on. A lot of you guys have seen it. You've donated. Thank you. Just thought I'd give you a little bit of what we've sent out. So we sent out 1,565 letters, and that was to all of Mono Township and 21 businesses. All told, we've received roughly 70 letters back, which is very good. So I'd like to thank everybody that has donated. We're well on our way for our radio goal. So just wanted to share that tidbit of information with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, then we'll go with JENILYNNE from Area Plan. She has something for us here, a rezoning tonight.
Yes, so I'm here on behalf of the White County Area Plan Commission for a rezone petition, referring to petition 1217 to amend the official White County, Indiana zoning maps. Please be advised this petition was properly advertised by the White County Area Plan Commission. This petition was heard in a public hearing of the Area Plan Commission on August 11th, 2025. This petition was voted upon by the Area Plan Commission at that same meeting. The property subject to this petition is commonly identified as 902 North Market Street, Monon. Said petition requests a zoning map amendment of the subject property to go from B2 general business to R2 single and two family residential. The Area Plan Commission voted to forward this zoning map amendment request to you with a favorable recommendation of 10 to approve, 0 to deny. So again, the subject property is identified as 902 North Market Street. If you're not familiar with that address, it is the old Annis Mini Mart. It is solely the parcel with the building on it. The parcel was formerly used for a gas station and convenience store. Currently, the business is no longer in operation. The building has been undergoing renovations in preparation for future use. Otherwise, it has sat vacant for an extended period of time. The applicant's intention is to remodel the existing building in order to live on the property. A single family dwelling is not allowed in the B2 commercial district. And I'd be happy to answer any questions should the board have any for me. The applicant is here should you have any questions for him. Again, this comes to you by a 10 to 0 vote. 10 in favor, 0 to 9.
Was there, I know with the gas station, was the soil checked to make sure there was no contamination?
That might be a question the applicant can answer. I do know that the previous property owner rehabilitated the tanks and the removal of them, and that went through the state.
Okay.
I can answer that. Yeah, Jim has worked with HAGEN, which is Indiana Department of Environmental Management. Yeah, Jacobson's out there outside of town professionally removed the tanks, the vents, the piping, the canopies, the pumps, all the possibilities of contamination of the soil was removed professionally, and the soil was tested by IDEM. IDEM has closed out on everything, shut down the monitoring wells, they've approved the soil sampling, everything. So yes, it was professionally done by the state of Indiana. Yes.
Thank you.
I know at the area plan, you said you were gonna park semis
Yes.
on the south part of the property. Now, that's not gonna become a
Business.
business where you're up, you know.
No, sir. It's not going to be like a garage. No, basically, it's me and my son. We've been operating a small trucking up, just, 2 semis,
Okay.
4 trailers. And just basically, well, Ron's been very lenient because I own 521 Ray Street.
Okay.
Okay. And I have a lot of equipment, trailers and stuff. And sometimes it gets a little more than the city ordinances are allowing. So thank you for being generous with me with that. But, so when this came available, I figured, okay, it's perfect because it's commercially zoned parking area, which is going to have 2 semis, 2 trailers, a car haul step deck. I can park my equipment.
Mhm.
I mean, it's only me and my wife. It's not going to have children. It's just me and her. It's going to be a one bed just for us to live. But no, it's not going to become a commercial garage or anything like that.
Okay.
No, not at all.
So it's just part of the areas being rezoned?
So it's actually, Mr. Annis used to own 3 parcels, 3 lots. He sold the south 2 to Mr. Ratash here, and then the north 1 to someone else. So the applicant tonight is only rezoning the lot that has the structure on it. It's very limited to just that specific parcel.
I've actually made some professionally drawn drawings. I made one for everybody if you'd like to
Yes.
see them.
I'd love to see it now.
Okay, Linda's for using to there.
Thank you.
Didn't make enough. I apologize. How many people were involved with it? Who needs these?
I'd like to see more.
Yes, sir. So I made like 7 copies. So Chris.
Yeah.
Okay, now on page 1, this is the structure before any of the removal of anything.
Still got the camera. This is before no building. This is one that starts, not only property lines, showing the scope of everything.
Thank you.
I can answer any questions about any symbols you see.
So yeah, again, the rezone is only for the one that shows the structures. the one to the south is going to remain.
Page one is the previous, after it was gutted, it still shows the gas tanks and vents. It shows all your fire hydrants, it shows your NIPSCO poles, the property lines, the boundaries, the sizes of it. And then the page two is got the room sizes. That's what I'd like to do on the inside of it. It's got every boundary, everything. I think it answers both your questions.
Ray, if you park on that south line, how close do you think you'll be to 21? So we don't want to block any view of traffic or anything like that.
Oh, no, sir. Basically, if you've been up there, you look at the edge of the building, my several will never be parked past that building right there. So you have a full view of the highway, getting coming off the street there to the highway, nothing to be obstructed.
Is there any restrictions on how many trucks can be parked there?
That's what I was saying. They're only doing it for the here, this other lot, they're still being zone business, so they can park their semis there.
Yeah, with the residentially zoned property, you're allowed, I think, one commercial vehicle garage, is that right? On a residential property. That's why I bought the two lots, but the one that's zoned commercial, that is where I'm gonna park. There'd be two semi trailers and there's a car hauler. There'd be four trailers and two semi trucks on the parking area.
That's on the south end.
Yes, sir. And anything you see down, it's like asphalt. That is a commercially zoned lot. From basically the building to the house on the south side, alley to the front of the building, that is the B zone lot.
But only 2 of those trailers are semi-trailers.
Only two, yeah, right. 2 of the trailers are semi trailers. That was a car hauler and a step.
So basically, the parking of the semis would be towards the road.
Yes, not
Yeah.
the south road. Yes.
Yeah, Monroe.
Monroe.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm gone 3 to 5 days a week. Them semis are basically only going to be on the weekends or maybe one day during the week. We're gone most 3 to 5 days a week. It's not going to be like to be sitting there. I will stay organized, landscaped, it's not going to be a fire hazard, nothing like that. We're not going to look like trash. We can really organize and line up and everything.
I think that was one of the biggest concerns, just because it's one of the first buildings you see coming in town.
Exactly. Yeah. That was my thought too. What's the last thing people see when they leave the town of Mona?
Yeah.
They see a brand new business here and they see a decrepit
structure
that's just sitting there falling apart, unpainted, unmanned, nothing going on. They say, oh, wow, because I'm a truck driver. I go all over the country. And you go to these little towns, you see businesses and new structures, and that's what people see and remember. That's their knee-jerk reaction. Hey, we got a nice, clean-looking businesses organized. They get a good impression of the town. So, and if you're going north, last thing you come in, the first thing you see leaving north, you coming south. So I'll have the structure painted within 30 days. I'll have a brand new coat of paint on it. It's going to look more appealing. That's pretty much about it, I think.
Is the outside of the structure changing at all? Like roof line or anything like that?
No, everything will remain the same for this year. This year, my intent is to get the inside remodeled. And then next year, we're going to professionally either some kind of siding, lighting, you know what I'm saying? We're going to get it looking very nice. Yes. It just take me this year and next year, and that'll be all done.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Then I need a motion to approve or not approve this zoning, rezoning.
I would make a motion to accept the rezoning.
All right, I have a motion by Tony to accept the rezone, and Chris seconded it. All in favor? All opposed? Okay. I need to.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Same application. Thank you. We're not required to remain. Oh,
No.
Yeah, you can
I
leave.
gotta leave like 2 a.m.
So the next 7 weeks will pull your building permits for the
And
interior.
that the drawings I made, is that good enough drawings for the
Yeah.
building permit?
The inspector will probably need some additional detail on
That's
the
fine.
materials and whatnot.
I'll have Ken from Eminent Construction get a hold of you to file the building permit.
Yep.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You
Thank
too.
Chris.
See you guys.
Especially for an insider.
Right. Sorry, my cord.
Okay, next on the agenda is Ross Hagen from Baker Tilly, and he's the one that's really trying to find us some money for the wastewater plant.
That's the idea. We're hoping.
Did you bring us 5 million tonight?
I
Ross?
didn't. If I had that, I probably wouldn't even be here, to be frank. But yeah. So this is just a updated preliminary rate analysis, just to give you an idea of kind of where we're at today. And then, just keep in mind as I go through this, this is based on estimates. We haven't did the project yet, and then we'll talk about funding sources and what we're looking at currently, what our options are. I won't go through this every page, every line. I'll try to keep it to the high points for you so you can get a good time. So with that in mind, I turn you to page 3. Just page 2 is just kind of a snapshot of where your cash balances are. But for what we're kind of talking about today, I think this is a good place to start because this is where we look at what are our estimated project costs, what's our estimated project funding sources. We've got a pair of alternatives here that we wanted to show you. So in terms of your estimated project costs, we've got estimated construction costs in total about $13.6 million. Non-construction costs is another roughly $2.5 million. So all in, we're looking at around $16.1 million. There's some slight differences between scenarios just due to some logistics of those scenarios, but essentially $16.1 million is what we're looking at for estimated project in total. Project funding is the interesting discussion. So we've got some commitments for project funding. We've got where you see proposed sewage works revenue bonds, RD, that second line. That is a solid commitment from USDA Rural Development Program for a 40-year loan at a 1.5% interest rate. So great interest rate, favorable loan terms. So, very helpful for the funding. Just below that, even better, rural development grant. So they've committed a grant of roughly $3.4 million for the project. We penciled in here ready grant of $2.3 million as a possibility. We've got county cash that we've already received, cash contribution to fund the preliminary engineering costs of $663,000. So those are, what I would call the more stable funding sources, especially, rural development. We've got a letter of conditions, they've committed that. What we're looking for is essentially a loan to fund the gap between the total project cost and what's already been committed. So in the first scenario, the loan that we're showing is a loan through the State Revolving Fund loan program of about $4.8 million. In the second alternative, we've got a county loan for about $4.8 million to fund that gap. So we've talked with the county. We talked with them a few weeks ago at their meeting. I think they were receptive to potentially providing a loan, but at this point, we need to move forward with bidding the project, getting an actual ask on the table of them of kind of what that cost would be. But it seemed like they were favorable, but we did want to kind of line up, what's another option separate from the county so that we know we can receive funding if we need to fund the project. So keep in mind, gap's about $4.8 million for the project as we move forward. So you turn the page 4, this is just your outstanding debt. I won't spend time on this because this will be paid off through the rural development loan. It'll be all rolled into the new loan. Page 5, I just want to touch on this briefly. So what we're doing here is we're taking your most recent calendar year of day-to-day operating expenses for the sewage works. We're making some adjustments to that based on some analysis that we did, looking at your historical trends, looking at things like your salary ordinance, current pay rates, current insurance costs, trying to get you to essentially what we would say is your estimated annual operating disbursement number moving forward that we need to build into your rates. What we came to, that kind of bottom right number, roughly $450,000 annually in those day-to-day operating costs that we want to build into your rate structure. The next couple pages, 6, 7, 8, those are all the details of the adjustments we had made to your operating costs to kind of arrive at that number. I won't go through line by line, but certainly if you're interested in reading them, you can, and we can kind of answer any questions at any point on those. Page 9 is kind of where we bring that all together into what your rate impacts are. You'll see we added an alternative on page 9. We had 2, we went to 3. I'll kind of go through what those are and what the differences are. But just starting at the top, we've got your revenue requirements. So these are essentially the costs that you need to fund for your utility annually. You've got those day-to-day operating costs around the $450,000 marker. Below that, we have debt service. Those are your bond payments on the proposed rural development bonds. So these are the ones that rural development has already committed. So $165,600 roughly annually is what you would pay on that committed bond from rural development for the amount that they've pledged, the roughly $5 million that they've pledged for loan dollars. The next two lines are the differences between scenarios, proposed SRF bonds, proposed county loan. In alternative one, that's the alternative that considers the SRF bonds. So what we'd be doing with SRF is we'd be getting a loan from them through what's called their pool program. Essentially, SRF would go out on the open market and issue bonds on our behalf with their AAA state credit rating. They would pass through the interest rate to us, and then we would pay them back as a loan. So that would be over a 20-year term, roughly a 4.5% interest rate. That would be about $367,000 annually in payments. That's what we show as the worst option, because as you look at alternatives 2 and 3, those are the two county loans. So for alternative 2, we've assumed a 20-year payback period to the county of that roughly $4.8 million loan. We have that penciled in at a 0% interest rate. Could certainly be higher than that. And I'll talk through kind of what the impacts are if we change that interest rate as we go down towards the bottom here. But for now, based on that 0% 20-year payback, you'd be at about $239,000 a year to pay that back. So that's about $130,000 better than that first scenario annually. So certainly you'd see some rate savings there. Alternative 3, that's what we really would like from the county, which would be a 40-year payback at a 0% interest rate. That would take you down to about $120,000 annually for that county payback. So certainly more favorable than the other options from a rate perspective. Below that, debt service reserve. So this is a requirement with rural development bonds that you fund essentially 1 year of your debt service payments over a 10-year period. And alternatives 2 and 3, you can see kind of the truth to that. We do, the $166,000 payment annually divided by 10 gets you to $16,600 a year that you have to fund. In alternative 1, that's actually doubled because if you issue SRF debt, they require that's funded over a 5-year period based on the 1 year of debt service on both the RD loan and the SRF loan. So we'd have to fund it a little bit quicker. So it's a little bit more painful from a rate perspective. And then below that, you see the SRF bond component of that reserve, about $73,000 annually that we would need to build in versus those other alternatives 2 and 3. With the county loan, we wouldn't necessarily need to fund a reserve. So again, it would be more beneficial from a rate perspective to move forward with the county for that reason. Our final line of costs is allowance for cash funded replacements and improvements. This is just kind of a calculated figure of what do we need to build into our rates to build in adequate debt service coverage so we can make our bond payments. So what that comes out to, it's different by alternative, but you're looking at $26,600 in alternative 1, about $85,000 in alternative 2, about $55,000 in alternative 3. That gets you to total annual revenue requirements. So this is essentially total costs that you would need to fund annually for your utility. A little over $1.1 million in alternative 1, $950,000 in alternative 2, $800,000 in alternative 3. So about $150,000 better as you go down the alternatives. We back out from that number any receipts that you receive that wouldn't be subject to the rate increase. So interest income, some miscellaneous receipts you get. That gets you down to net annual revenue requirements. Those are costs that you would need to fund annually through your rates and charges of still roughly $1.1 million, $1,106,200 in alternative 1. $947,100 in alternative 2, and $797,400 in alternative 3. So we compare that to what you bring in annually based on your current rates and charges as they are today. So you bring in roughly $606,000 annually today. So that gives you an additional receipt need for the various alternatives, about $500,000 annually in alternative 1, $340,000 in alternative 2, and $191,000 in alternative 3. What does that mean in terms of your percentage increase that will be required? It's about an 84% increase in alternative 1, certainly not as appealing as alternative 2's 57%, or even better, alternatives 3, 32% increase. So point being, we've got that $4.8 million gap. The most favorable funding term we could receive would be the longer loan term from the county at the lower interest rate. So certainly that's what we want to pursue. to be able to hopefully get towards that 30% type of marker on the rates versus the higher 84%. Just for reference, your current, what we call an average monthly residential bill is a 4,000 gallon of water usage bill. It's about $64.49 today. The first scenario, the increase would be an additional $54 monthly, so certainly steep there. Alternative two, $37 increase monthly to that bill. And then alternative three would be a little under $21 increase to the monthly bill. That take you to on the high end about $119 annually, medium end about $101, and then the low end $85 for that monthly bill for the average residential user. So it's a lot of information to digest. I will say, just for reference, if the county loan, we ran it out at 2% as well, just to give you an idea. Doing a 2% loan, it's about a $7 impact on that monthly bill. So if we did 40 years at 2% instead of 0%, you'd be looking at about a $92 a month bill versus an $85. That holds true for that second alternative too. It's about a $7 increase to that if we had a 2%. So just to give you an idea of how that interest rate moving would kind of impact the rates. Just wanted to use that 2% as an example. And then just last thing I wanted to go through before we take questions. If you skip to page 11, this is just kind of a chart of some surrounding or similarly sized communities. We've got population range average for that average residential monthly bill. So for similarly sized communities within Indiana, it's about $56 a month. So currently you're pretty close to that at the $64.50. So obviously we'd be kind of moving up from that to that $85 a month number. But you can kind of see how you compare some of the other communities here that for the most part are nearby or similarly sized. So happy to take questions. I think just for now we're still at the point where we've not bid the project yet. We need to get authorization from RD to be able to do that. We're still kind of checking some boxes to be able to get that authorization. At the point that we actually receive the bids, we get the project costs in. We'll kind of rerun the numbers, get the information to the county so that they can potentially provide that loan, and we can kind of make the formal ask to the county. I'm sure we'll also be having some conversations with rural development as we get those bids in to see if they have any money that they found in their pockets that they could provide, whether that be through grant or additional loan, just to try to find essentially the most favorable funding that we can for the town to help fund the project. So happy to answer questions. I know it's a lot.
Hey, Ross.
Yeah.
I did talk to a contact from RD on the drive up here. In that last scenario that you mentioned, obviously going back to them for the gap needs to be asked. The worst case scenario on that front is their current poverty rate is 3.375. So if it, to paint perspective on the alternatives that were presented, if they funded it through their 40-year loan, it would fall somewhere between
Really 2 and 3. Probably like $95, $96 ish if we did that. The benefit, two benefits: RD versus SRF. You get the 3.37% versus about 4.5%. But the biggest benefit from the rate perspective is they'll let you go out to 40 years versus SRF would be stuck with a 20-year loan. So obviously that'll help mitigate the rate impact significantly if we do end up, not being provided funding for grant or from the county, and we move forward with RD for the additional funding.
So they have the same debt service coverage for RD.
They've got you can go a little bit lower with RD. It's kind of a fine line because you can't really go much lower without not funding your capital improvements and short-lived asset replacement that RD has their requirements. So we could probably get away with a little bit lighter than that, but it's gonna be pretty close to that number.
Anybody have any questions for Ross? We're just waiting to see, basically.
Wait and see, as we've been doing, but
Right.
still waiting to see. A little closer now, and once we have the updated numbers, I'll come back again and even shorten out a little bit for you for the next time. But we'll have some firm numbers then and be able to provide what we're seeing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Of course.
I'm gonna skip the complaint procedure for a minute and go ahead and go with Commonwealth, and because some of you people have to travel and we'll get you out of here.
Just to piggyback on the next steps, we're gonna go ahead now and just submit plans and specs to RD. Did you guys get that map?
Yes.
So, okay, so they have it now? All right. We've got plans and specs ready to go. Let's just get it to RD, get their blessing to bid it. We'll set it up with some alternates to try to drill the price down as best we can, okay? And give us options when we get bids in hand. But at this point, let's get it out to bid. Let's see how the numbers come back. And then let's regroup, right? And because the county, you know, the county's telling us the same thing SRF's telling us. What do you need? Right? You know, RD was gracious enough to give us a good offer, but they were also gracious enough to say, oh, by the way, you still need an extra $5 million. So let's just go do it now. Let's bid it and then see what that number is. Maybe it's only 2. Maybe it's not in. I don't know. But that's the next step. We can't do anything. We'll get with the RD piece of it. We can hold our bids up to 120 days while we figure out the math on the back.
Okay. Sure. Anybody have anything for Gabrielle or Rob?
I think that sounds like a good plan.
You guys will get copies of the plans and specs
Okay.
mailed up here to look at.
Okay.
All right. Take a card. Probably send a couple sets. That way you can send a set out. You'll know what goes to RD because you'll get copied on it. It's all get translated electronically.
Okay.
We're getting a little close.
Yeah. We're talking numbers now.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go back to complaint procedure. I don't know if it's really a complaint, but just so we're all on the same page, we very much want the town folks, if you see something that needs to be addressed right away, please contact our town hall, Annette or Tammy. They will take the message, and they will get it out to either Roger or Tracy, whoever. It's kind of like following the chain of command. What we don't need is the community getting a hold of our town workers, because they don't know that they're following their chain of command by their bosses of what to do. And they don't know if it's an emergency. Do I need to go do this now? Can it wait? So instead of, don't call or text or get a hold of our town workers, call town hall. Leave it with Annette or Tammy. If you can't get a hold of them, try and get a hold of Roger. If Roger's not available, my phone number is available. I can get a hold of Roger, and I've got Roger's phone where I can get a hold of him like that, or the workers. And so we can operate like that. It just kind of takes the pressure off our town people, because they're looking around, well, who do I listen to? And we just got to kind of keep everything in order in that way. And there's not really been a problem with that, but I just thought we'd go ahead and try to resolve that, but let the town know that, yes, if you see something, please let us know. And if it's something that needs to be taken care of right away, then we'll get on it. Anybody on the board have anything to add to that? Okay.
I think that'd be a good way to handle it.
All right. Next thing, sanitation bids. We have the sanitation bids, and I don't know if we need to go over them. I think everybody knows what they want to do. I want to review, because I know one company was going to charge us to take away the existing bins, but that's been resolved. And so they're out of the picture as far as charging us for doing that. The rate increase the rate's gonna go up the first of the year, no matter what, whoever we go with. It's just waste management would be like 15.20. On point, I think that's the two we're really looking at. On point is 14.35.
And that rate stays the same over the next few years, correct? The on-point one.
Yeah.
Because I think
Is
waste
this a
3
one-year
years.
contract?
No, it's three.
Oh,
it's
no,
3
no,
years.
no, I see.
The rate stays the same all years.
Yeah. And for the next 3 years, it's gonna be 14.35.
That's correct.
Okay, so do we need a discussion on your waste management, what we're gonna do with our trash hauling?
I just want to make it clear that on point, if we would, I mean, I can't ask the other people who are not here, but you're willing to pick up the existing cans and make that delivery to waste management?
So what we would request, and I touched a little bit with Roger on this, just in happenstance that we were selected. What we would request is it's a challenging time, that period of time due to the holidays and the weather, of course. If we could get some assistance from the town in terms of getting them in one location for us, and then, we could get those transported to Logansport, that would save us a lot of energy and effort. And we would make, available a truck. So if there was any of the carts that had, full waste or something, we pick them up, we would get those dumped on your behalf for you, and then it would just be a matter of logistically trying to figure out, getting them to Logansport, which we can do. Again, it's the holidays, so it's a bit of a challenge around that in terms of timing. One of the things is going to be discussing with Waste Management is their last day of service going to be on most likely, because you're Friday right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the last Friday of December is the 26th, but being after the holiday, that may be Saturday. So what we always like to try to do is, I think I explained maybe the first meeting was, we try to get our carts to customers either the day before or the day of the last service by your current provider, so that your residents have an opportunity to put their waste in our container versus Waste Management's container, which need to be empty. So that's what we try to do in terms of that, is to have a smooth transition. So the first pickup for us, in theory would be the following Friday, but it really wouldn't be Friday because of the holiday. It would be Saturday then. And that's just a challenging time because, as you guys know, a lot of people like to try to take time off around then. I'm not concerned about us getting our parts delivered. I just know it's going to be a task for us to do the deliveries and move the waste management parts. And then that's, again, something that we will need to discuss with you guys in terms of liability. If we bring the carts over and Waste Management says, hey, these carts are damaged, we're going to say, hey, these are the carts that we were dealt here, right? All we're doing is driving them over and dropping them off. Obviously, if our trailer winds up in a ditch, that's a different story. But so those are just some small things that we would like to discuss with either Roger, your town attorney, or whoever town is going to handle that, logistically speaking, so that we're covered from a liability standpoint, so that Waste Management doesn't come to us and say, well, you owe us $10 a cart because these are beat up carts that happen in delivery, right? Which I don't see them doing. We have a good relationship with Waste Management. We bring a lot of trash to those guys on a daily basis, so I don't think we're going to have an issue, but it's still something that we probably need to cover. I would love to get paid to do a dropping off over there, but we could, we'll work with you in terms of what's going to be best. We don't want to make any money on it per se. It's just, it is an expense for us to bring roll-off boxes and trailers and whatnot with loads coming back. I expected, if there's around 700 carts in the town, give or take, if we don't stack those carts, it's probably going to be about 12 loads, roughly, in an enclosed trailer or a gooseneck trailer, or roll off 40-yard boxes, stack them that way. So we figure about 12 loads. So it's, it's going to be a bit of a process, but, as long as we can get those delivered to them the following week or so, as long as they're okay with that, which they should be. They have hundreds and hundreds of carts sitting over there from customers we acquired of theirs. So it's not like they're in need of the carts. But it, as long as they're okay with, which I have a good relationship with the staff over there, that, we should be okay in terms of dropping those off later, as long as they're not expecting the same day.
No, I confirm that with them. I think that will be probably the first full week in January.
Yeah, as long as we have a little bit of time where, we're not crammed to try to get them all done in a day or two or something like that, it'll be a lot more manageable for us. Because we're part of Monticello, we get a part of Monticello as well, which is the same starting time. So that's gonna be a busy week, but probably 2 full days with Monticello and 1 full day for Monticello. We get carts dropped off. So.
And the carts are the same quality as what we have, better quality than what we have.
Yeah, they should be. It's either going to be the standard manufacturer we're using currently, or we're actually looking at maybe a slightly better cart, in terms of reducing the amount of if there's broken lids or whatnot that happens with certain manufacturers. Regardless, we try to put the best cart out we can for 2 reasons. One is aesthetics. If the cart looks really good, it's a good marketing advertisement for us. And then secondly, we hate broken carts. It's just a pain in the butt dropping off or replacing lids or plugs or things like that on carts. So, we want to try to put the best cart we can in town. 1, for your residents. 2, aesthetically, we like carts to look like a cart should, in terms of, having the lid where it's supposed to be, the cart not cracked, the wheel's still on, right? All those things, it just makes us as a company look better, and it's easier to service that trash. So we're gonna put the highest quality cart we can. It's either gonna be a Sierra cart or a toter cart. So.
Are they about the same capacity?
They're exactly the same. Yeah,
Exactly
it'd be a 95 gallon versus 96 gallon, and that's just manufacturing discrepancy. So all the ones you see currently of ours are out in the street are mostly Sierra rare carts, which are pretty much identical carts. Those are 95 gallon. The toter brand is actually what is ran in some of the other towns you see with other companies. It's a very reputable company. It's probably it may be a better cart than what we currently have. Just by looking at it.
Are we covered and I don't think this will happen, but 3 years down the road, if we tell him to come and pick up his carts, are we covered at no charge on that contract?
Well, we haven't done our contract.
I
What you're accepting is a bid. I will draft a contract.
I think we've had that conversation. Let's stay out of Clerk.
We would have no charge when we find no charge. Our goal as a company is to think our towns. We haven't been in business 25 years. At some point, I'm sure someone will take a town from us that we have, but we haven't had to yet. But if we are not chosen to continue services with your town or any other town, we don't have any sort of fee to pick up.
Our goal is to keep you and save money at the same time.
If there's repairs for the carts, do you guys handle that?
We do.
You do?
Yeah. A few towns like taking it upon themselves to do it because they can do it a little bit faster. We normally do that once a week, where any customers who call and say, "Hey, I have a broken lid or something happened, or some car hit my container and now it's in the broken pieces," right? Stuff happens. We get that. It just really depends on how the town likes to handle it. Sometimes the town clerk reaches out to me. Sometimes it's maintenance. Like Francisville, they have 6 or 8 extra carts. Their maintenance just replaces carts and repairs them, and then they say, "Hey, we need 5 more carts. Come take the broken ones." So we can do that, or some towns just let us know and say, "Hey, we have a broken cart." We even have residents call us, and we don't say, "Hey, go call the town clerk or the town manager and bug them." We just put it down, and that week we go out and repair them on Thursdays or Fridays. So we take all responsibility of that in terms of replacements and repairs and cost to repair. That's why we want to put a good cart out there, to reduce our ongoing expense for carts.
Sounds like a win.
Large items?
I can't recall what you guys have for your large items in terms of your
1 week.
Is that what it was on your RFP or your?
Yeah, but the problem that I see in here is the fact that they're not getting picked up in time.
Again, every town is different. We work with all towns in different manners in terms of what they expect or what they anticipate. For example, Winnemac, bulk items ever. If it's a bulk item, leave it on there. We're going to yell at the cut or the resident to call the company and pick it up and get a roll-off box or whatever. Towns like Wolcott, they shoot me a list each week and say, "Hey, these 6 properties, email us with a bulk item," and we pick those up on our service desk. Other towns don't do as good a job with that, and we just generally pick up bulk items within reason. That's out there now. If someone has 20 yards worth of trash sitting in front of their house, it's a construction pile, we're gonna reach out to whoever the contact is for myself directly in the town and say, Roger, go talk to, Steve. Steve has a pile of trash out there that can fill up a 20-yard roll-off box. We pick up the mattress and that, we pick up one large bulk item as required by, the agreement. So, again, we don't want trash on the street. Looks bad for us because someone else would be like, well, this company's not doing their job. But again, I think from a business standpoint and a community standpoint, it has to be within reason in terms of what they're putting out. Because as you guys know, some people follow the rules, other people abuse the rules.
And that's one thing we were talking about at the same time, but it turns out maybe doing the letter in Spanish and English. This is what's required in your container. And then that brings up the other question. So say somebody decides they want another tote there, they can contact you.
Yeah, they contact us directly. An extra cart's $84 a year. We keep it as a low cost. I mean, that barely covers the cost of the container. So, because our goal is to have the trash in the carts. I have a few employees who used to haul your town who tell me some stories about residents stacking up cardboard, all these different ways, so the trash is sticking up this much taller. And again, those are those things that I'm going to rely on whoever my main contact is in town and how you want to handle that. If you say, hey, tough stuff, Eric, it's in the cart, right? You got to pick it up, even though it's mounted up over the cart by 3 feet because they're ingenious with the cardboard. That's fine. Or you can say, hey, like towns like Bunker Hill, for example, like we have a good relationship with their town clerk where we say, if it's a repeat customer, it's a hassle for our driver too, because they go and pick up the cart and trash goes everywhere, right? Now it's on the ground. We get in trouble because there's trash on the ground, although it's the residents, more or less fault because they overloaded the container more than they're supposed to, and they do it quite frequently. So our drivers are pretty good where they'll send me a photo and say, hey, 1515 Main Street, it's like this every week. And then I'll reach out to them and say, hey guys, what would you like us to do? Would you like to reach out to them to see if they can get a second cart? You want us to not pick up the extra trash that's next to the cart every single week, right? They're only paying for one trash, but they're putting 2 trash carts worth of trash out. So I lean heavily on the town in terms of how they like to have their trash service handled. It's my belief that if we work together properly and we do a good job on our end, and I'm not telling the town to police every resident, but if we can cut out the very small minority of individuals who abuse the service, it goes a long ways in terms of what the town looks like from a trash perspective on the carts and in the streets, and as well as it allows us to be efficient, which if towns want to save money on their services, it helps when our guys from a safety and efficiency standpoint can stay in the trucks and service the carts correctly.
Say we had a couple residents that we recently just sent letters to, and every time I walk by, the trash seems to be cleaned up. So like they're keeping it in their cart, and
So always gonna reach out to you guys. I always tell my drivers like, hey, pick it up. I'm gonna talk to someone from the town, and I'll let you know how we want to handle it next week. Sometimes they say, service it. We'll talk to them, or sometimes they say if it's like that next week, leave it, and then. When they call into the town to complain, we can chat with them about, the photos we can send.
Right.
So.
Ken, I think I'll put a motion to end the current waste management contract and move forward. On point.
I agree. I'll second that.
We have a motion to go with on point and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Well, good deal. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Look forward to servicing you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. If anything comes up, and I'm sure I'll get in touch with you guys in terms of a service agreement, all the formalities, and then as it gets closer, we'll obviously get our carts ordered so they're ready to go in time. And then it's going to be logistically in terms of when we're dropping them off, how we're getting picked up, how we're getting delivered, where at, all those things that. So
I'd say for how much you're helping us out, we'd be more happy to try to help you out with employees working with you too.
Yeah, it'd be great to have some sales on that. A lot of towns like to start January 1st, which is great because it's the beginning of the year, but it's also a tough time. And hopefully weather behaves itself right. So, but again, we'll do what we need to do to make sure that residents get the carts they're supposed to have.
Hey, Roger.
when you get that date of when they're gonna do that, shoot it to me, and I'll see if there's any fire.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So, all right, well, thank you guys.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
We got it done.
Yeah.
So, appreciate it.
I have a resolution here from the park board. They're wanting to transfer $3,000 from the tree trimming. They want to transfer over to the playground and shelter account. They're just moving money from one place to another. Is there any objections to them doing this? Then I need a motion. RB made the motion. I got a second. Jamie seconds. All in favor? Aye.
You can't.
For the first one.
Okay, the next thing is community crossing grant quote. Have we got anything back from that?
Yes. So I forwarded that email with that. Yeah, right there.
Yes.
So right now we are at 1.3, almost 1.4 million.
Yes.
So the max that can be applied for is 1 million. So I did talk to Ken today because this amount that you guys received doesn't include drainage. So he said the drainage, you can add about another 75,000 if we do the drainage on all these streets. So we're going to have to cut something. But what Ken was telling me today was that we could, the council, okay, so his fees is 6,500 for the, if we're awarded the grant. And then the passer fee, which is where he goes around and rates the streets for us, which now LTAP says that we have to have these classes and all these things if we do it ourselves. So his fee for that would be $900 a year. And that would be if we wanted him to do that every year or whatever. But I forget what I was going to say. But so what he said was we can do like a max. They could, if they wanted to go with him, then they could do a max. If you say you want to apply for the $1 million, you could say that's your max with the max out of pocket of 200,000. Or if you want to lower it, I'd be more than happy to reduce the budget some if you want me to, because I can reduce it. I just can't increase it. So, but I went ahead and put in enough so that we could, you guys can make the decision. If you wanted to try, he said a lot of places don't go for the full amount, but I mean, we haven't done it in a couple, 5 years or something, but yeah. Yeah. So it's up to you, but yeah, now our match is 20%. So he said, we don't need to know what you want to take out tonight. He offered to come meet with Roger again or Ken, whoever, and go around the town and look at the areas again, like actually go out and survey and look at them, whatever. He thought that would be a good idea to kind of decide where you guys need to go from there.
So what we're going to get is we're going to get a milling out, a 4-inch overlay and sidewalks.
What was the first thing you said?
They'll grind out.
Oh, milling. Yes.
Milling
Yeah.
it out.
Mhm.
And then we'll get a 4-inch put back and they will.
The milling, isn't it 1.5 inch? Or is it?
I think the milling is 1.5 inch. There was some curves in
Yeah,
there.
I thought they mill out 1.5 inches.
Yeah,
Mhm.
4-inch sidewalk, 60 inches wide. Yeah.
Yeah. And the only thing we're not going to get would be the drainage.
Well, the drainage, he said we would add about 75,000 for everything.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have the actual prices on that just yet, but
So if we needed drainage in certain areas, we could add into that.
yeah.
Okay.
So all those street, yeah, he gave you breakdowns for each section that we asked him to give us for the quote.
Except for curbs on there at all.
I believe I saw curbs. Maybe. Do you guys remember what he said at our meeting about curbs?
There was 2 different styles. That's,
But that was included, right?
yeah, I believe, yeah, he included curbs there. Yeah, because we picked the curb, and I couldn't remember what the difference was in the 2, but we picked what curb we wanted.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
there was
so
something.
a lot of our curbs are gone. The streets have been made so many times that they're above the curb.
I don't have them. I don't want them.
Well, we don't have to do it on your.
I'll entertain any thoughts of what you want to do. If you want to go with the full amount, if you want to eliminate some of it. I made the suggestion to Annette, any monies that we got in the sidewalk fund, empty that out to help pay our 20%. Because we'd be spending it on sidewalks anyway, right? And just so that we got some.
I believe there was almost 50,000.
So you
That
got
hadn't been spent in
50,000
there.
out of the 200 right there. Now we're down to 150.
I would say try to do max so we can do as much as we can.
Absolutely, but I agree with the sidewalk.
Yeah, and use them up.
Use that, because that's a never ending fund. I mean, it's gonna keep accumulating. That's just my suggestion.
Yeah, that's the tipping fees, right? You're talking
Right.
about.
100%. Quite there.
Do I have a motion then? We have a motion to go the full amount.
I'll second it.
Chris seconds it. Now, is this with the possibility added drainage or just what we have here?
I think, yeah, if we need it, we have to have it.
Right, there, I would agree.
Otherwise, we're destroying money that we're spending.
Right.
And so Ken would have to get with us and decide where the drainage would need to be and how much extra. That's gonna lift our 20% up a little bit, but.
We've got
Well,
issues.
we have the 1
everywhere,
million
like-
max, and we're still going to be at the same amount.
Right.
Yeah.
We might not be able to do certain sections
Right.
of other streets, yeah.
But just what Chris was saying, we blacktop so many places where we don't have a curb.
We don't have a curb.
And then we don't have drainage when that happens. It ends up people's yards, people's houses, basements. We gotta help that.
Okay. Then, we have the motion then to do this.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. All right, the next thing is salary discussion.
I didn't send you guys anything new on the salary, depending on. I haven't really got much feedback on what you guys want to do for that. So
Annette and I have talked. The only thing we talked about was increasing the fire department run.
that's not on our salary ordinance, though. That's
No,
their contract,
and we'll just drop that until that comes up. But,
which I'll send you guys. I've been working on some numbers, but
yeah, and she's gonna get some numbers that will come more fitting into our budget and things that we can afford. Anybody else have anything on salaries?
do you guys have any suggestions on where you want me to go? Do you want me to just? I don't know. We've got to do something. We've got to get it figured out before too long.
Well, what have we done in the past? You've broken it out like what? 3% across the board, 4 or 5%.
I
Yes.
think last year we did some individual.
Yes.
Some got more than others.
Yes.
We did merit as opposed to cost of living. I'm still a component of merit. We've had scenarios where we've increased, and then we batted our eyes and went, wow, did we make any mistakes? So I like to do the individual. It takes more effort, but I think it needs to be accurate. I think we need to pay better to keep people in positions, but I'll.
So are we talking cost of living raise?
No, that's a percentage that goes straight
Right,
across the
and
board.
then that,
No, I just think merit, period.
just
Yeah.
nix out.
Yeah, because it's all part of cost of living, actually, when you do a merit increase. And it can be a headache, I know, and I'm the first one to say we put in a lot of hours, and I'm saying now we put in more, but I think it's the right way. When you just do across the board, excuse me, whether it's 2% or 8%, it's not fair for that person that's the right-hand person who Roger has to go to or who Annette has to go to, as opposed to the one that gives you minimum daily requirements. And I'm huge about calling a spade a spade.
And that, when do you need to know?
We just have to adopt it before the end of the year.
Before the end of the year?
Mhm.
When do evaluations come through?
Well, you guys, I probably need to email those because you weren't here
Okay.
to look at those. Yeah. So
Okay.
you guys want me to email those to everybody?
Please.
I'll have to get those from you, Roger, again.
Because I think that could be added into this, decision as well.
Right.
Yeah, and the fire department, like you've been talking about, separate. That's not.
Mhm.
And I agree with you.
Should the merit pay be at least the cost of living?
I don't think
I don't think so. We're behind, right? We're already behind. And if it's 3% today, it
Well,
could be-
I guess maybe I should have said cost of living. If we said 3% across the board, then if we're gonna do merit pay, nobody should get less than 3%, should they?
I would not think so, Ken. The cost of living is probably higher than
Oh,
that.
it'd be probably higher.
But I mean, we've had this discussion ever
Yeah.
since I've been on the board because we have not kept up with that.
Uh-huh.
So I agree, if it's 3%, people should get above that. But we may have some employees that should get even more than that.
Right, right.
And I guess that's kind of my point, the merit part.
I just don't want to see somebody, if we were gonna go and 3%'s not cost of living, I don't want to see somebody get 2%. Because I think we're not gonna keep anybody doing that.
I agree. And I've been the advocate for 8 years or whatever about you got to pay good health to keep good health. But I also have been the guy that says you got to, evaluate your health, because we've had some health that's not very good. We have, and I think we've addressed that recently. I think we've done a better job. And that's.
But I would still like to see some raise for all.
Oh, yeah, I'm not.
Everyone.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not.
Everybody's gonna get a raise.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not saying by any means that. But what I'm saying is, if employee A is outstanding, and employee B is minimum daily requirements. I work in a union place. I hate it because we got guys out there that perform very well, and they're limited on, their experience, their seniority, on what they can get paid. And the guy that does very little minimum daily requirements gets the same benefit. I hate that. That's not right. If I'm going to bust my hump, I want rewarded for that. I mean, that's Coach Davis, how kids get playing time. You earn it. Sorry.
Okay.
I get on my horse about that stuff.
I guess.
I don't believe in free lunches.
Until next meeting.
Well, yeah, I guess what we need to know is how much money have we got to use for increase in salary?
Right.
That we can afford to
we know what's in the fishbowl.
Right.
divvy up. And
So as far as just the increase, I would like to keep it between 10 and 12,000 for the employees.
For everyone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
10 up to.
12.
I love you. That's a car.
Oh.
You get somebody give
I
you a
have
pay.
no idea.
I want to be at 300.
Well, that-
300 up
I
to.
think that will help. If
Mhm.
you'll
Okay.
Yes.
let us know what like Jamie said, how much we got in the fishbowl in it. Then we can start, after we see some evaluations and things, then we can start deciding who gets what.
Tighten your belt, Raj.
10 to 12,000 employees. Who are you considering the employees?
All the full-time employees.
Yeah.
And then I also figured the part-time, the crossing guard, let's see, who else? I asked you guys about the park caretaker, if you wanted to increase that at all.
Is that on us or the park board to decide?
I think that's it.
Still. Okay.
But that doesn't include like the council and the.
Oh, you guys, yeah. So all that I sent you on that sheet, those are who I'm in, and you can do any of them. It doesn't matter to me, but those are the ones that are full-time.
Right.
And then
that's what,
we also,
that's what
yeah.
I think she thought too, is, you know,
Right.
we're $10,000 to $12,000 for the full-time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're technically not considered full-time.
Oh, not at all.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, but you're on that list. Yeah.
We shouldn't be. We should just be the cost of doing business.
You are on the list.
Okay, is there any more discussion on salary discussion?
I mean, really, it could be anybody who's in the salary ordinance. So, yeah. Just in case I forgot somebody.
12,000 up to.
Roger.
Okay, street thing, side of it, we've got the Bobcat's got some issues. We're gonna test the battery tomorrow because that might be the issue we're hoping. If not, Bobcat can't be here till the 10th to figure it out. That for some reason it's not connecting to the computer and it won't start. Paving starts the week of the 15th. We'll probably start out in the park. We've increased the mosquito spraying. We did have to switch chemicals because we've been on the same chemical for quite a while. With everything going on, it was an increased price. So we got it in. We were on the last tank of the old, and then we'll switch over to the new. We started painting some of the curbs because my contact at Bronze has not got back with me. I went up there to try to make contact with him yesterday. No luck. We're still scheduling the last fire hydrant over by Vanguard's aftermarket to try to get it done. We had an issue today on a shut off when Cody went to shut off a residence. The shut off broke, and luckily the people working down the road brought their tractor truck down and sucked the hole out for us because that's probably the deepest water pit I've seen. And they got it up and repaired, finished off with it. I do have some meters that Reynolds is willing to part with. They're not using the census stuff. They have like 10 radios. They do have a 1-inch meter that we are needing. He's trying to get me a price on it. Everything's going to be sold to us at a reduced cost from what it would from the supplier. There's not a whole lot, but I think having the opportunity to pick these radios up and these extra meters locally helps Reynolds out and helps us out tremendously.
Are they new or used?
They're brand new. They're brand new. They switched from census to another meter, but I know EJP and census currently, we've been looking for this 1-inch meter for Vanguard that we're estimating for quite a few months, and this is the first 1-inch I've been able to get my hands on, so we're gonna pick it up and get it put in down in Vanguard. The other thing, we shipped the old dump truck down to the park. We originally was going to charge them, but we didn't charge them. They came to use the truck once and it has issues and won't stay running. I think we probably just need to ship it out the door and throw it up for sale and get what we can get out of it. I don't think there's any sense putting in more money into that diesel.
That thing's had a lot of problems.
A lot of problems, so. Park doesn't have anything invested in it, so I think we just need to move it out of the lot and get rid of it. So,
If we do that, does that just go up for open auction then?
just go up for open auction. Yeah,
Can we put a reserve on it?
we put a reserve on it.
Okay. If we're not using it, I'd say make a motion to sell that truck.
You got a motion, anybody want a second? RB seconds, all in favor? Get rid of it.
The 250 is actually going down Ford's production line this week. So once it gets in, it'll go to Clark's, get the bed sprayed, the snowplow mount put on it, and lights put on it. And all I'll left to do is decal when I get it back. I don't expect it to take quite as long being a pickup truck. We're going to use the same plow off of the other truck, and then once we get that new truck in, then we'll get rid of 1.5 tons too. So just keep shrinking the fleet. Okay. Police side of it, we're all going to be in East Monticello on Saturday. We've got a guy coming in to teach a advanced firearms training. We've got some outside agencies. There's 8 slots that were available. We're taking, between us and Francisville, we're taking 4 of them. So we're going to try to fill the other 4 for the guy. I think it's $80 a piece and 300 rounds a piece. So it's a highly recommended course. So that's what we're doing. Move the radar trailer around. We'll go over to Meridian Road by the school crossing over there. I did get an answer back from the good old State Department of Highway Transportation. And I informed Sharice I now have a set of flashing lights that we can't use where me and Sharice want to use them. They denied our permit for their engineers and special project guys said that they're 2 turning lanes and stuff. And then in the meantime, they say our school crossing is not up to federal standards. So I gave Dean Cook, because it goes back onto the school, the guy's contact information, and I think Dean was going to talk to him, have a few words with him. But other than that, we're just plugging along.
Okay. And yeah.
Okay, so I have a question. Do you guys want to decide on a reserve for the truck? If he's gonna put that up for sale?
Yeah, I think we need to research.
Okay.
And
So wait till.
and see what, let's see what a wholesale on it is.
Okay.
Try to be above that.
So hold off on posting that until
Please,
after next
yeah.
meeting. Okay.
I agree.
All right.
So you gotta check. You can send me the details of the truck too, and I'll make a call.
And then Roger, I don't know, Tracy had sent me the quote for the softener valve. Is that something that you wanted to bring up tonight?
Oh, yes. Peerless came in. We have one softener valve that obviously their air chamber that opens and closes. He wanted to revamp the whole plumbing and put in aqua flow valves and everything to the sum of $120,000. I laughed at him. I said, "Can you still get this valve?" He said, "Yeah." That valve was about $4,400 plus the labor to put it in. So he was supposed to have a quote for it.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah. So the total was $44.78 for the valve, and then $3,000 for installation from Peerless. Yeah.
So my thing is then we're going to take that one off. We have made contact with a guy that does weld cast. He's an old Amish guy. So we're going to probably weld that spot on the inside so we can throw it and have it as a spare. Just in case. Yeah.
Okay.
Where'd you find him at? Those guys aren't around anymore.
He came through some guys. There's not many guys that know that. That's an art itself.
It's lost.
We do have, just so you guys know, when we did put in the new motor for the high service pump, we went ahead and had them rebuild that high service pump. So we now have sitting on the floor a spare.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're trying to do with every motor that we know we're going to have a hard time getting our hands on. We're rebuilding it and setting it in a corner because it's right after Memorial Days when we ordered the switch for the splash pad,
Mhm.
and it just came in last week, and
Yeah.
hopefully it's going to get installed sometime quick.
Yeah.
But
He has to get us on the schedule.
but yeah, it's just that hard. You guys probably know it's getting hard.
Yeah. So I did receive a letter from Sharice Hook that she is resigning from the Monon Park Board effective December 31st, 2025. She says, thank you for the opportunity to help serve my community over the years. So we will have to find someone to replace her. You guys want me to do what we did before and put an ad on just on Facebook to begin with and see if anybody's interested?
Not unless Sean wants to do it.
Diane have any?
When I say last I spoke to her, she didn't have any leads on that yet.
Diane, do you have any contact, anybody interested that you know?
I had one person, but when I asked him, I said, hey, you mentioned a year ago,
Mhm.
he said, I've already said I've already joined another board and I don't feel like I can get. So.
Yeah, let's see what we get from Facebook.
Okay. So we'll do that. Halloween. I know you guys are like, that's really early for Halloween, but it will go on our bills at the beginning of the month. Is everybody still October 31st is a Friday. Still keep it on that day. And then the times you wanting to do, I think we've done 5 to 6:30 and 5 to 7. Okay. So Friday the 31st. Okay. The Verve Clinic, our last day with them is going to be October 31st. And Healthy Access is going to come in to do an intro for the employees here later this month. Anybody who wants to stay, I don't know, Roger, if you were interested with Verve Clinic also, they said you can contact them directly and I can get you her name. So if you wanted to stay with them. No. And then Jim, did you get my email about, okay. Yeah. So I got that and I said, okay, well, where are we going with this?
You want me to talk to you about it?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what it amounts to is I've been working with Edwin, Emily over at Hertzey on the fertilizer plant for the last 3 years, working on this project, whether it be through the Ready Grant demolition program, and we've got it to the brownfield stage right now. And what we have is a survey, which I've done now for the second time, basically is what this is, and it was sent to Annette, and I filled it out to the best of my ability with the information that I have available. And it goes back to this, it's Alt and Wixig Consulting Services. They sent an email about they're going to be in charge and doing the research work and so forth on that. And I would prefer, since I don't even live in town, I filled it all out. And if you want to go ahead and return it, I answered his questions here at the top. Based on the size of the property, it's 4 properties. It's actually less than 0.77, not really relevant. But all the information that they should need to move forward. The only question that I didn't answer was a phone number to get access to it. I don't know whether, can you get access to that building through the owner? I think it would be a lot simpler if they contacted you, then Roger allowed them to go in to the building rather than the owner hassling with it and so forth. We do have basically an agreement with the owner to move forward on this project to get it cleaned up and so forth. And then this is the first step, but it's all filled out.
Okay.
So all you need is email it back to him with
yeah,
the phone number that you want to take the call from,
right,
set up for him then we're good. Then we're good to go. Just going back to a couple other things that you mentioned, Halloween, we'll do the trunk or treat on the street on Market Street. We're also going to have a haunted house in the theater on that same day. Ours is 5 to 6, so it fits in there. And also on the 18th of October, we're going to do the same thing down at the town park on the hayride and all that kind of stuff. Cotton candy, slushies, popcorn, all that's free to anybody who shows up.
What time?
And that's a good question. 2. I think it's 2 to. I'm going to say it starts at 2. Leave it at that. It goes till either 5 or 6. I'm not sure exactly what the length of time was. They didn't want to be closing up after dark like we did last year, and it being difficult. Huh? Well, I know, but cleaning up in the dark is down there. It's not easy here, so that's kind of that's mine in terms of what my groups are doing. I will say, and I'm not going to bring it to you guys tonight because I haven't even brought it to the Civic Preservation Society, but I do have a quote back on the Civic Center for its refurbishing the Civic Center on the outside, the exterior, and I'll bring that to my group on Monday before we even have a discussion here. So that's it. But I do have that. I've worked on that.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim.
That's all I have.
Rebecca?
The only thing I have probably is that we've got things updated for the grant, for rural development, with the plan and things that we need to move forward. And I think that's as ready to go as we can for bids. The other, I think you guys had a question about the fire department, what level you can increase their amount to, and I think when I looked it up, it was like up to $150.
Oh.
So it was a lot higher than I was expecting. So
For a run?
yeah, if you want to do it up, 10 to 20 or 30, it'll be fine. So I was rather surprised by that. Well, all right. Fire department may be happy. So you'll be okay.
I'm sustained.
Whatever, yeah.
I'm sustained.
So you have to play with that number if you want to.
Okay. All right.
That's all I have.
Tony? Chris?
I know I've missed a meeting, I think. Have we done anything with the old funeral home? It's still looking pretty ready, and I don't know if we moved.
They
anywhere with it.
came in and they, I wish we would ask this from Jim here. They did mow and cleaned up down there and they boarded up the windows like I asked. They did catch me one night and she'd actually hired a architect from Woken area. And he had plans drawn up and he was actually talking in phase 1. And phase 1 would be put 2 apartments downstairs. One was a 1-bedroom, one was a 2-bedroom. They had the parking all figured out and everything. And I'd send it to area plan. And then when area plan's done, it will come back to us. It was more of a realistic plan because prior to that, she come and talked to me and said she was going to put 3 apartments in there and each apartment's going to have 5 bedrooms. I said, you're running a boarding house. That ain't going to fly. So then she hired this architect. He did this. They basically want to close off the whole upstairs area, concentrate on the downstairs area, get 2 apartments going there. And then he talked the next phase would happen after our sewage plant.
So we definitely need to get that exterior cleaned up.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Jamie?
We haven't brought it up in that one thing, but being Sean's here is a good time. Have you gotten anywhere with the new station stuff that you were checking into?
I started checking into stuff. I got emails out. I'm waiting on stuff to come back. I've been checking, but I haven't got it back. I do know the first step that we have to have is design. So that's what I kind of got feelers out there for us. How much is it gonna cost? And, I mean, you gotta have a design before I can figure out what kind of land we need, what kind of money.
Yeah. Have you went to any of the other departments that have recently put these buildings up?
Yeah, I've been to Brookston, and I've also been to Idaho. Idaho's got a new station. Idaho station's really nice. Brookston is really nice too, but they were pole barns. The difference is Idaho's is a steel building. Can't remember what they said. They had a whole lot of money in their floor because they put the heat in the floor, and then they epoxied over the top of it. So I want to say they were close to like $750 or $1 million just in the floor, because they actually took their heat outside to the approaches. Because when they're backing in or pulling out, they won't have this flush out there. So I have been researching, different ideas and stuff like that. And I've seen them anywhere from $2 million to $22 million. And I was like, holy cow. So
Brookston was a little over $1 million.
So for a piece of property, is it fire marshal that has the approved location? No.
No,
I've heard something about that.
From what I've read and what I've looked up, we can't buy the property first. We have to get basically a promissory note saying that yes, we'll sell you the property at X amount when the time comes.
Okay.
And then there's grants and stuff that we can look into, the Red Cross, stuff like that. But before we can do that, we got to have, very first step, you got to have a design. You got to know what your square footage is. You got to know, that way when you do look for a piece of property, you have your setbacks already. Because if the building's this big, you got to be this far away to make sure it fits on whatever you purchase. So.
You make sure it goes flat.
Yeah, put a background. Anything else?
I'm good, brother.
I'm good.
I make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
He's halfway down the step.
Angry.
Look at the rest of the building. It's got everything.